Hello everyone! Welcome to my Flosstube channel. My name is Jessie Lee and I'm coming at you with video number 38. I had zero intention to be gone from Flosstube as long as I have been. But February was such a frustrating month, you guys. It was just one thing after another. I missed my Flosstube anniversary on Valentine's Day, which broke my heart, you guys. I had a day set aside to record my Flosstube anniversary video, and then I got an email from my teacher basically just springing a paper on the class. He said, "Oh, I forgot that I had meant to give you guys this assignment, so turn it in 2 days." So I ended up working on that, and I intended to just post the video late, work on it the next week, but then Glenn got sick, and he ever so kindly sneezed directly in my face, so I got sick. And then after that, my kids had a 3-day weekend, and then we got 12 inches of snow, so they had 2 snow days, and then they had another 3-day weekend, and in the midst of all of that, I just had a ton of homework. So I just was not able to make my way back to Flosstube and chat with you guys. And it has really bothered me because I miss you so much. And I love cross stitch and it's just the most fun for me. So nothing really terrible happened in February. I was just seeing a little too much of my kids and working on a lot of homework. I really love my classes this semester. They are a whole lot more interesting, but they are very writing heavy, which is just time consuming. Last semester, it was read a chapter, do a quiz. Read a chapter, do a quiz, which is not such a big deal. But this semester, it's read a chapter, write a paper about it. And it's kind of a lot. So I've been super busy and, like I said, just frustrated with everything going on. But now I am on spring break, so I can take a breather, and I finally get to make this video for you, and I'm really excited. All right, I'm just gonna dive right in and bring out these 2 finishes that I've just been dying to show you guys. Starting with my temperature butterflies. It's an FFO now. Oh, darn it, the light is making this a bit backlit. Sorry about that. It's still pretty though, isn't it? This is a pattern by Sarah Hughes, the Stitchin mommy, and I stitched this 1/1 on 28 count black Lugana with the brightest colors of DMC Light Effects and DMC Satin Flosses, and then I fully finished it into a hoop. I want all of my temperature cross stitches to be finished in hoops because I display them all together and I want them to look consistent. But I had a heck of a time finding a big enough hoop for this piece. I actually bought 3 other wooden hoops that didn't end up working out. So what I did was spray paint the plastic hoop that I had stitched this in. And that worked out fine. However, the hoop had the dimensions molded into the plastic up in this corner, and that looked unsightly. So I bought this hair bow off of Etsy and glued that up in the corner to finish it off and cover up those ugly numbers. I like this vinyl bow. This whole neon color scheme is a bit 90s inspired, and the plastic bow just sort of reminded me of the inflatable furniture that was so popular back then. So this is how it all came together. I hope you guys like it. Down here on the bottom, in teeny tiny little backstitch, I have the dates and temperatures for the coldest and hottest temperatures of the year. December 22nd, it was -2 degrees Fahrenheit, and June 20th, it was 102 degrees Fahrenheit. So quite a range happened over the course of the year. I think these turned out beautiful. They're just so bright and fun to look at. This color scheme was a great experiment, that's for sure. And here's the fabric that I put on the back. It's this wild tie-dye. I thought that was perfect. Here is the whole piece up a little bit closer. I love my temperature butterflies. This was extremely fun, and I'm so excited to show it to you. I hope you guys like how it turned out. The next little finish I have here was my New Year New Start. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen it already, but I haven't talked about it at all here on Flosstube. So here it is, completely stitched up already. It's this adorable little design here. It's called Rabbits in Winter, and it was published in the February issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine. I downloaded the electronic copy of the magazine back in January, because magazines tend to come out ahead of the months that they're intended for. So I bought this pattern in January and stitched it up right away. And maybe you guessed, but this is a design by Stitchy Princess Black, who is a Ukrainian designer that you guys know I'm a huge fan of. I've collected so many of her patterns, and when I saw this, I thought it was absolutely precious and had to stitch it right away. I just love, love, love her designs, and I keep up with her Instagram. Her posts really break my heart. She recently had to flee her home in Kherson, which is one of the most heavily shelled cities in Ukraine right now. She hung on living in her home for a year, but she recently did have to leave, and she's fled elsewhere, and she's very sad about it, of course, and my heart is just broken for her. Like I said, I keep up with her Instagram, and I'm always scoping out her Etsy for a new pattern to buy just so I can support her somehow. So I love stitching her designs. They are beautiful and really fun and really quick too. And you'll probably see me stitch many of them this year. I've decided that this will be a year of smaller projects because I'm going to continue to be super busy with school, and I think it would feel really unsatisfying to focus on bigger cross stitches and not make a whole lot of progress. So I'm going to be doing quicker things like Stitchy Princess Black patterns, which is fine because they're really and truly beautiful. I stitched this one on 32 count vintage Stormy Night Lugana with the called for DMC. And I have an interesting FFO idea for this. Let me show you what I found to put this in. It's this little mini scroll frame. It's a little wobbly because it's not all the way put together. The hardware for it is vacuum sealed and a little baggy, and I don't want to open it up until I'm ready to use this because I don't want to lose any little pieces. But I thought this was really precious. Let me show you the label for the package this came in. It looks like this, and it says mini scroll frame, and the brand is Frank A. Edmonds. And I think this is intended to be a working scroll frame for stitching in, but I think it looks really cool. So I'm going to use it as an FFO thing. And when I figure out how I'm going to make this secure as an FFO and have it decorated nice, I will be really excited to show you that and maybe give you some hints of how you can use it if you'd be interested. I just thought that was a cool find. I don't know if you guys seen those before, but it was a new discovery for me. So I think that will be a nice little sort of primitive looking finish for this very traditional Slavic sort of folksy design. Since it's been such a long time since I've made a normal Flosstube video, I don't exactly remember where I left off with showing you my projects. And I'm sure if I've forgotten, then you've forgotten. So I've decided to just do a quick little whip parade and give you an update on where I'm at with all of my projects. So let's start with the Autumn Cat Sampler by Nancy Rossi. Here's the design, and here is mine. I had intended to stitch this entire thing last year, and I'm very disappointed in what a clunky stitching year 2022 was. I didn't get much of anything done, and I have not touched this since sometime last summer. Here's what I have so far. This is stitched on 28 count white Monaco with the called for DMC. And in December, I actually took this down off of its scroll frame because I didn't want the white fabric to get stained with dust. I knew that I would not be working on this for a while, and I have rolled it up and stored it in my stash. And I won't be working on this year because it's such a big piece and I'm just too busy to make meaningful progress on it. So it's going to go away until sometime after I graduate college in the spring of 2024. But I will finish it one day. I am highly motivated to stitch the entire seasonal cat series by Nancy Rossi. I finished the spring cat sampler and I adore it, but I cannot display it on the wall until it has at least one partner. So this has to get done probably in 2024. So this one's going bye-bye for a while, but not forever. And one more time, here's how it looks now. I love these beautiful birdies. Another larger whip I have that I'm not going to pack away is my Quaker piece sampler by Remembering Bygone Stitches. Here's the design. And this is mine. This has been hanging out on this scroll frame since 2021, and it might as well just stick around because I just like to pick at this little by little. Usually as a Sabbath stitch, I'll just throw in like one strand of thread. I am stitching this on 36 count fabric flare even weave in historic beige, 1/2, with Threadworks flosses in the colors 1078 and 1064. And this whip has my favorite tactile feel as I'm stitching. Just the delicate single strand of floss on this little bitty 36 count fabric is just, it feels really nice and it looks so dainty and pretty. I have made a chunk of progress on this since I last showed it to you. Recently, I put in this motif right here, as well as the beginning of the word peace here. Right now, it just says P, which I think is pretty funny, and it kind of makes me want to go read some Hans Christian Andersen. So this is Quaker Peace, which I will continue to just pick at here and there. It's really fun and it's really pretty. All right, moving down in size now, I have my vintage rainbow whip. This is from a magazine clipping that I bought off of Etsy. It is from the July 1994 issue of For the Love of Cross Stitch magazine. And I think this would be a very difficult pattern to hunt down, but if you do like it, it is called Give Thanks, and it was by Kooler Design Studio. So here's the cover of the magazine that it came from. And this is what the pattern looks like. And it is just so 90s kitschy and adorable. I love it. And it really reminds me of something that my grandma would have stitched. So that's what feels special about it to me. Instead of the poem, I am stitching in the lyrics to the Spanish folk song De Colores. And here is how my whip looks so far. I started this last spring and put it down sometime last summer, and I am really excited to pick it up again once the weather starts feeling a little more springy around here. Here it is up close. I'm stitching this on 32 count white opalescent Lugana. See the sparkle? And I'm using the called for DMC, and I don't have too much farther to go on this, so I am aiming for a finish this year. It's so bright and cute. And continuing to get a little smaller, I have here Through the Storms by Silver Creek Samplers. Here is the pattern cover. And here is where I left off on mine. I am stitching this on 32 count Olympia by Mystic Fabrics with the called for fancy flosses. And I still got a little ways to go still. Last year, I brought this out in April for April showers, as well as Tim's and my half wedding anniversary. And then I stitched on it some more in October, which is our actual anniversary month. And I'll probably do the same thing this year. Who knows if I'll actually finish this piece this year, but it'll be fun to bring out and work on at some point. Next, I have a brand new start to show you. I brought out from my stash Deer House by Carriage House Samplings. this is the design. And this is the little bit that I've stitched so far. The fabric is showing up really washed out on camera. It is much more of a pretty golden yellow in person. This is 32 count Belfast linen from my stash. Unfortunately, I don't know what color it is, but it's pretty. And here are the flosses that I picked for this project. It's just some DMC, and the mustard yellow will be for the house, and then the words will be in that rosy pink, and then that creamy white is for the little star accents and the front door of the house. So I totally changed the colors to be more of my cutesy pastel style. I was motivated to begin this project by a little problem that Tim and I have. We can't seem to agree on a specific spot to put our house key and car keys, and we keep accidentally hiding them from each other. So my intention is to stitch this up and then frame it and attach some little key hooks to the frame and then hang it up on the wall near our front entryway somewhere. So I will finally solve this problem that we have of losing our keys, which is a silly problem to have that we should have solved a long time ago, but it's an excuse to take on a fun little cross-stitch project, and I will most certainly get this one done as soon as possible. And then my last whip is another one that I haven't gotten to show you in a video yet. It is my temperature rain clouds, which I will be stitching throughout this entire year of 2023. And this is a design that I came up with myself. I drew up the pattern on graph paper, so it's real big and really hard to show on camera. But once I show you what I've stitched so far, I think you're going to see how it's all going to come together. So here it is. The fabric's really washed out on camera. This is 32 count blush Lugana, which is a really pretty baby pink in real life. But here are the temperature clouds. I have all the outlines for the clouds stitched. Each month will have its own cloud. You can see here I came up with a little font for each of the months. I thought the puffy clouds could use some puffy letters on them. And then each raindrop underneath represents the temperature of the day. And as you can see, the shape of the raindrops flip in each column. And something funny I figured out when I was stitching them, how to explain this. Let's say I cross my X's like this, but every column where the raindrops would point this way these stitches would lay would warp this shape just a very little bit, so it didn't quite look like an exact symmetrical flip of the previous column. So I figured out that I had to remedy that by crossing my X's this way, which turns out requires some brain power when I get to those columns that need the X's flipped like this, but I'm getting used to it as I go along. It really does make a big difference, though, in how those raindrops look. I think if I was stitching this on a larger scale, it wouldn't be so much of a problem, but stitching them really tiny, it's really important to get the threads laying the right way to really make that shape stand out correctly. I'm stitching this 1/1 really tiny because I do need this to fit in a hoop in the end. It turns out one of the hoops that didn't work out for my temperature butterflies actually fits this perfectly. So it is a relief to have that established from the get-go. And I had to stitch this so tiny that I needed to get some black sulky thread for the back stitch on the words, because that is a very fine thread and it made all the difference for making the months actually legible. But I'm super happy with how this looks so far. I think it's super cute, and I really like my colors. The clouds are 3 different shades of gray. They all overlap each other, so the clouds that are in the background will be the darkest shade of gray, and the ones in the foreground will be the lightest shade. And then right here are my purple tones for the low temperatures. And then the middle temperatures will be shades of blue, and the high temperatures will be shades of green. I chose a cool toned gradient for my temperature through the year because I thought that cool tones would just feel kind of rainy. So I'm really enjoying stitching this and I'm proud of how it turned out. This is the first thing that I've ever really designed myself and I'm really excited about it. And I hope you guys like it too and don't mind watching me stitch it because, well, I don't really have a way to share this pattern with you yet if you'd be interested. If you really, really like this and want to stitch it yourself, please tell me. I have my own laptop now, and I would consider getting software to make cross stitch patterns, so I could actually share them with you guys. So if you are absolutely in love with this, I can try to make this shareable. But anyway, I'm proud of how it's turning out so far. It was really fun to get creative and use my brain to figure out this design, and I don't know, I think it's super cute. I hope you guys like it too. So that's it for my stitching update, but I also have a stash update. In January, I acquired a couple Etsy gift cards. One of them came from my stitchy friend Susan. Thank you, Susan. You spoil me absolutely rotten. She's kind of my cross-stitch sugar mama. That's a joke. Thank you, Susan. I love you. So I had these Etsy gift cards and I kind of went wild buying a bunch of PDF cross-stitch patterns. So let me scooch over and put up pictures of what I got. First, I picked up Opossum by Happy Little Mouse. I love possums, and I thought this possum pattern in particular was super cute. And then I got Flying Black Cat by Soda Stitch. I bought this because I would like to stitch it for my son, Glenn. I just am reminded of him when I look at it. It just seems like something that would be up his alley. And next, I got Peace on Earth by Pedal Pusher. I had this saved in my Etsy folder for a long, long time. Doves are my favorite Christmas motif, and I like them for Valentine's Day too. And I thought it would be fun to stitch this with some metallic floss. I've collected all of the DMC Light Effects flosses, and I thought it would be fun to experiment with those on this design. Next, I picked up Into the Forest by Stitchy Princess Black. Moose! I love the moose! And I also really love the moon, and I think it would be fun to stitch the moon with glow-in-the-dark floss. That seems like a fun experiment. And then this next pattern was also something I thought would be fun to use glow-in-the-dark floss on. It is Rainbow Garden by Una Buena Pieza. And I just love the colors of this pattern, and I like how it's both cute and mysterious. And I think it would be fun to stitch the ghosts with glow-in-the-dark. And when I showed this to Tim, he kind of wrinkled his nose at it and he says, "Why are there skulls and ghosts everywhere?" And I'm like, I don't know, that doesn't bother me. It seems kind of real, because in nature, death is all around, that's just natural. But anyway, I just found this pattern really cute and interesting, so I picked that one up, and I have glow-in-the-dark floss in mind for that. And next, I got Bearded Dragons by La Selva Design. Susan showed me this on Instagram, and I fell in love with it. I have my own beloved beardy named Calcifer. So I bought this pattern, and along with it came a freebie. This is Footed Booby, and I think I like this booby almost more than the beardy. It is absolutely adorable. What an awesome freebie. So next was The Prince from Dr. Beatman, who happens to be based in Omaha, Nebraska, where I'm from. That was a funny coincidence that I discovered after I bought this pattern. And this character is from my favorite video game of all time, Katamari Damacy. And this is super tiny, and I could stitch it in a day, so I had to grab that one. And then another nerdy pattern was Badgers from the Dawn of Memes. I have wanted to try an ink circles design, and this seemed like the one to start with. I would like to stitch this for Tim because It's really geeky. This is a super duper old meme, the Badger song, and it's funny. And I think this design is really clever, but also really interesting and classy looking. So this is the Ink Circles pattern for me and Tim, because it'll eventually be a gift for him. Sorry, the cat was begging to get out of the room there, so I had to take a quick little break. Anyway, where was I? Speaking of cats, the next pattern that I bought was Patchwork Cats by Jardin Prive, and I have a specific finishing idea in mind for this pattern. I want to stitch it up really tiny and then mount it on a little wooden house that I have in my stash. And then next was Through the Stars Zodiac Sampler by Clouds Factory. I haven't stitched one of their patterns yet, and this one is my favorite design of theirs, and I don't believe in astrology, but I do really love it. And I like almost everything about this pattern except for a couple of the pictures they came up with for the zodiac signs. So I also bought 2 zodiac sign patterns. And the first option is Cheerful Horoscope by Madison Patterns. And these are cute little kawaii zodiac signs that I think mesh really well with the Clouds Factory pattern, so I would only have to swap out the couple that I'm not in love with. Or I could just change everything and go with Geometric Zodiac by Noosa Creation Store. I just think this is really interesting and different, and I love the colors, so far future Justine will have a decision to make. I made sure that either one of these alternate patterns do fit inside the little circles of the Clouds Factory frame. And I am super excited to work on this one day, but this is something that will have to be saved for after I graduate from college and have more time. But I had a gift card, so I went ahead and bought it now. Anyway, that is it for my haul. I hope you enjoyed seeing all my stash acquisitions. I don't do haul too often on my channel, but I think I grew my PDF collection by about 50%. I really went wild and had a lot of fun shopping. So thank you, Susan, for enabling me. And I am really excited and inspired by all of these little patterns that I have to choose from now. So I'm sure I will stitch many of these this year, and I'm psyched. I saved for last the project that I'm the most excited to share with you. It's the Night Totes that I put together to donate to the Interfaith Action of Greater St. Paul to be given to children of families struggling with homelessness. Here is one example of what a night bag looks like all packed up. I chose these leafy green canvas bags, and inside each one is a storybook about bugs. This one has Charlie the caterpillar, and I also put in a caterpillar plushie that I knitted myself. I invented these little sweeties back when my daughter Sylvia was a tiny baby, and I think these guys are really cute even though they're simple. They have shiny black safety eyes, and their bellies have ribbed stripes on them, and they got jiggly little braided legs, and I made sure that each caterpillar color coordinates with its book. Well, in this case, Charlie the caterpillar is brown, but when he turns into a butterfly, his wings are these colors. So that's how this particular set works. And then each bag also has a snuggly blankie as well, also color coordinated to the book. And I have been working on these totes for a year now, and I am so excited to finally donate them, partly because they take up a lot of space in my room, but they turned out fantastic. And here's a clip to show you guys more. All right, here is a spread of the entire contents of the 20 Night Totes that I have put together to donate to the Interfaith Action of Greater St. Paul. And I hope you guys really enjoy seeing everything all arranged like this. I think it looks really cool, but it was also hard work. getting everything out on the bed, and now I'm actually all sweaty. um, this is just a guest bed, so nobody sleeps in it, but my cats do like to sleep on it. So I tore off the pillows and blankets just to make sure that nothing comes into contact with any cat hair. And then I kicked all the kitties out of the room, which made them real mad, except I did allow little Nichols down here to stay because she never comes up on the bed. She much prefers to lay right down here on her little mat in front of the toasty heating vent. Sorry, she's so cute I can't resist showing her. Anyway, let me give you a little tour of all the little night-night packages I made. I made sure that each caterpillar and blanket coordinated with their book. And these books are so special. The majority of them here were sent to me by my Stitchy friend Susan. And there are one or two in here also from my mother-in-law, Mary. So thank you so much, Susan and Mary, for supporting me in this project and believing in me, getting this all done. My initial goal was to put together 25 night-night totes, and I unfortunately did fall short of that. But seeing all of this here and how much there still is makes me feel really proud of myself still. So I have quite a variety of books appropriate for all ages of children. And I would say my favorite books here are probably this one, Nature Anatomy. I got this with maybe an older kid in mind, and it has beautiful illustrations and super interesting facts. And I actually had to pick up a copy for my own kids because I thought it was so cool. There's its caterpillar and leaf blanket. And then my other favorite book is this one here, Step Gently Out by Helen Frost and Rick Leader. It's sort of a short little book for younger kids, but it's very soothing. It has beautiful photographs and a pretty little poem. And it has this soothing green blanket, and the embossing on it is actually a leaf pattern. And that's its caterpillar. And I would say my favorite caterpillar that I knitted is this one back here. I just think the chunky stripes and that color combo is so cute. And then my favorite night-night tote overall is this one right here. Caterpillar to Butterfly features monarch butterflies and caterpillars, and monarch caterpillars look kind of like this. They are yellow and white and black striped. And then I got a blanket with monarchs. So this is the whole spread, and all of these will be put into pretty green tote bags that I have to keep everything. And this is it. I'm so excited to get these all donated, and I really, really hope that they make a difference and cheer up some kids. Well, that's all I have to talk about in this video today. I'm sorry that it took me such a long time to come back around. Hopefully my life will be a little more in control and I'll be able to stitch and do Flosstube more regularly. Thank you for being so patient with me. You are my community and I've really and truly missed you. So before I go, I've got to share with you the motto of my grandma, who inspired me both in stitching and in life. God loves you and I love you. And happy stitching! Bye-bye.